My boyfriend secretly hid his second phone. I found out because of a text from her. I've been with my boyfriend, Mark, for almost 3 years. Things were great for the most part, but I always had a nagging feeling that he was hiding something. I never thought it would be this serious. Last week, I accidentally found a second phone hidden in his car. It was tucked under the seat, wrapped in a cloth. I didn't know what to do at first, but curiosity got the better of me. When I turned it on, I saw there were hundreds of messages from a woman named Elle. They were flirty, intimate, and sometimes downright explicit. I felt my heart drop. I confronted Mark that evening, and he admitted he'd been texting and seeing this other woman for over a year. He said it wasn't serious and that he was confused about what he wanted. I couldn't believe it. I felt betrayed and humiliated. I started digging through the phone and found out they had met up multiple times, even went on trips together, all behind my back. I felt sick. I called my best friend and cried for hours. I didn't know how to face Mark or what to do next. I wanted to break up, but part of me still loved him and hoped he'd change. Since then, I've been trying to process everything. I've been staying at my parents' house to get some space. Mark keeps calling and texting, begging for forgiveness, promising to end things with Elle, but I'm not sure I can trust him anymore. I don't know if I want to forgive or just walk away. I'm scared of being alone, but I don't want to stay in a relationship built on lies. I'm sharing this because I'm lost and don't know what the right thing to do is. After confronting Mark that evening, things got tense quickly. He tried to downplay the situation, saying it wasn't serious and that he was just confused about what he wanted. I told him that hiding a whole phone and keeping a secret relationship for over a year was not just confused, but a serious betrayal. He apologized, but his words felt hollow. I could see the guilt in his eyes, but it didn't erase the hurt I felt. I spent the next few days scrolling through the messages on the hidden phone. The texts were intimate and frequent. They planned secret meetups, sent each other photos, and talked about how much they missed one another. I found pictures of them together on trips I had no idea about. It was like a whole other life I didn't know existed. I felt sick and betrayed, wondering how long this had been going on and how many lies I'd been told. Mark kept calling and texting me, begging for forgiveness, promising he would end things with Elle immediately. He said he wanted to be with me and that he had made a huge mistake, but I didn't know if I could trust him anymore. The thought of him lying to me for so long made me question everything about our relationship. I stayed with my parents for a few days to clear my head and figure out what I wanted to do. I talked to my best friend and cried for hours. She told me to think about my self-worth and not settle for someone who doesn't respect me. I wanted to believe Mark could change, but I also didn't want to be hurt again. I was scared of being alone, but more scared of staying with someone who could betray me like this. I finally agreed to meet Mark and talk face to face. I told him I needed honesty and transparency if we were going to try to fix things. He promised to be open and cut ties with the other woman. I told him I needed proof and time to heal. He agreed. But I wasn't sure if it was enough. Since then, I've been trying to rebuild trust, but every time my phone buzzes, I wonder if it's another lie. I don't know if I'm strong enough to forgive or if I should just walk away. The pain is still fresh, and I'm lost in a sea of doubt and heartbreak. After our meeting, Mark seemed to genuinely try to be more transparent. He handed me the password to his main phone and agreed to delete the secret phone. I wanted to believe him, but old habits die hard. And I found myself constantly checking his messages and social media, looking for signs of dishonesty. Every little delay in his replies or vague answers made my anxiety flare up. I felt trapped in a cycle of mistrust and doubt. One night, I noticed he was texting late into the night. I asked who it was, and he said it was a coworker, but something felt off. I asked to see the messages, and he reluctantly showed me. The texts were friendly, but nothing inappropriate. I tried to calm my nerves, but the fear of being betrayed again lingered. I realized that my trust was broken, and rebuilding it would take time, patience, and effort from both of us. Mark started attending therapy to address his issues with honesty and commitment. I also began counseling to cope with the emotional fallout. We agreed to couples therapy to work on our relationship together. It was difficult, and there were setbacks. But slowly we started to communicate better and understand each other's needs. Despite progress, I still have moments of insecurity, and sometimes I wonder if I'm holding on to a relationship that's beyond repair. But I also remember the good times and the reasons I fell in love with him. I'm trying to find a balance between protecting myself and giving him a chance to prove he can change. The road ahead is uncertain, but I'm hopeful that with honesty, effort, and time, we can heal the wounds and build a stronger foundation. For now, I'm focusing on my own well-being and taking things one day at a time. After months of therapy and countless conversations, Mark and I slowly started rebuilding what was broken. It wasn't easy, and there were days when the pain and mistrust felt overwhelming, but we committed to being honest and transparent with each other. Mark deleted the secret phone and cut all contact with Elle. He shared his therapy progress with me and was open about his struggles, which helped me see his effort was real. I also worked on myself, learning to manage my anxiety and rebuild my self-esteem. The scars from betrayal don't just disappear overnight, but I started to feel stronger and more confident in setting boundaries and trusting again. We attended couples therapy regularly, and while it was tough to face our issues head-on, it helped us communicate better and understand each other's needs and fears. There were setbacks, moments when old wounds reopened and doubts crept back in, but we talked through those moments instead of letting them fester. We celebrated small victories, like going a whole week without arguments about trust or jealousy, and slowly, our relationship began to feel healthier, more balanced. I won't pretend everything is perfect now, and I'm aware that rebuilding trust after infidelity is a long journey, but I'm hopeful for our future and grateful that we chose to fight for each other. This experience taught me the importance of honesty, communication, and forgiveness, and that sometimes love means working through the hardest challenges together. If you're going through something similar, know that healing is possible, but it takes time, effort, and willingness from both people. Don't settle for less than you deserve, and always prioritize your well-being. Story 2. Both of us cheated. Now I don't know if my marriage can survive. I have quite a tale to share. Both my husband and I were unfaithful to each other. Since he discovered my infidelity, he has subjected me to ongoing verbal hurt, which has occasionally turned physical. Allow me to provide some context. When we first got married, we were quite open about our adult experiences. We engaged in doing the deed as 3 people, and he admitted to receiving a happy ending during a massage and visiting strip clubs. I consistently forgave him and moved forward. However, he developed a corn addiction shortly after our wedding. When I confronted him about it, he insisted it was his private matter and refused to change his behavior. I've never been a jealous person, but his subscriptions to OnlyFans and his preference for gooning over intimacy began to disturb me. Discovering screenshots of various women, including some of my friends, only added to my discomfort. Whenever I tried to discuss these issues, his anger would erupt. He began to make hurtful remarks about my looks, telling me I was unattractive and that he no longer loved me. This built up a lot of resentment within me, ultimately leading to my regrettable decision to have an affair with a former coworker. I only slept with him once, but I communicated with him for an entire month before ending it as soon as it happened. I initially denied my infidelity to my husband, but he eventually found out. I revealed bits and pieces of the truth until I finally confessed completely in response. He sought out relationships with 2 other women and engaged in adult activities with an additional 2. He boasts about his conquests and makes degrading remarks. Now, with 2 children and another on the way, I find myself questioning whether our marriage is worth salvaging, especially given the terrible timing of everything.